Hi, I'm Uncle Ricky, and welcome to Uncle Ricky's house. I've been doing, a lot of videos lately on the place where I grew up. I guess where you could say I spent my wonder years, town of Burkeville in Virginia, in the county of Nottoway. And first, let me say, even though I have pleasant memories and I have life values that I can only attribute to Nottoway County, I am disgusted with the attitude, the overt attitude of racism that is trying to, let's say, have a Phoenix-like resurgence in the county. Recently, there was an incident in the Nottoway County Middle School where a substitute teacher basically diverted from the lesson plan that was left by the regular teacher that taught the class and decided to teach a class of, I guess, his own makeup, of his own origination on racism, I guess slavery, but the whole thing boils down to he taught it complete with trying to explain every derivative of the N-word, from the correct spelling to the A spelling to the street meaning to the white supremacist meaning. And from the report, even though it was very minimalistic in the Courier record, it seems that he put emphasis on the supremacist part. He also went overboard by calling black members of the class monkeys, derogatory terms, openly in front of the entire student population of the class, which we know Nottoway County is integrated. So he was defaming black students, I guess under the guise of education, in front of white students. Now, this person, even though they weren't named, which I find kind of, because teachers have been called out, have been fired and called out for other crimes, other stances that they took that violated county policy. But the county basically, in their own minimalistic way, did the correct thing by terminating the substitute teacher. But when they terminated him, they did not terminate the person for the actual offense that they committed, the racist acts that they committed in front of youth in Nottoway County. They terminated him for violating policy by not going by the approved lesson plan. And I use the term minimalistic because, yes, the person deserved to be fired, but the reason given for the termination does not address the actual offense. There is no reason why any teacher, substitute or permanent staff, and I understand Nottoway County is poor and teachers get paid crap, and there is a, let's say, teacher flight from the county, and sometimes you have to scrape the bottom of the barrel for substitutes just to keep the classroom's open. But when you get people like this, it's kind of hard for me to believe that their opinions, that their ideas have not been expressed in a manner publicly that, when they get vetted, when they apply for the position of substitute teacher, that it's not a red flag. But I digress. Let's get back to the heart of the matter. People of my ethnic persuasion are constantly vilified when we bring up the subject of racism. The current vernacular says, you just should let it go. Forget it. This is a new day. Well, damn it. If it's a new day, why are government officials like your precious Glenn Youngkin and that cat down in Florida trying to eliminate black history? If they can't eliminate it, they want to rewrite it, especially the portion concerning slavery, to make it seem like that it wasn't the cruel oppression of a particular race of people to satisfy the economic goals of a Southern white culture. Now, what gets my goat is Nottoway County is caught up in a vicious cycle of, let's say, right-wing extremists and probably borderline white supremacists. There's evidence of this because there are people running for public offices that continually use social media to spout their extreme right-wing white is right and ideology, their white supremacist ideology, the ideal that if you're not white and Christian, you don't get a voice, not even in Nottoway County. And what goads me is that the county administration is suborning this attitude by not calling it out for what it is. Now, some of the comments in the Courier Record, and I'm not blaming the Courier Record, they are a paper. They have a duty to report, the news. And unfortunately, racism is news in Nottoway County. And what gets to me is people comment like it was a joke. Like, oh, it doesn't mean nothing. Well, hey, they use that word in rap songs every day. Look, yes, it is used in rap songs. And yes, people get rich using that word, and this is unfortunate, but the conditions that make it allowable and acceptable, it's not a new thing. It didn't start when rap was born in the 80s. It started in 1619 when the first people of my ethnic persuasion were brought to Jamestown. And there's an argument whether they were bought as slaves or indentured servants. However they got here, when they got here, they were eventually made slaves. And everybody that was brought from Africa after them came enslaved, in chains, and were treated as animals because Southern America operated on the principle of chattel slavery. In other words, human beings of a particular persuasion were allowed to be owned just like animals, just like a beef cow, just like a mule, just like a horse, just like a chicken. Chattel slavery was legal white people owned black people, and that was the way it was until the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. Now, let's fast forward to 2023. There's a big push. The Supreme Court just struck down affirmative action. Okay. Affirmative action, a lot of people call it a quota system. Like, oh, you got to have so many blacks in your school. You got to have so many blacks on your job according to the number of blacks in your community. That's just the law. Affirmative action was never intended to be like that. And affirmative action, in a lot of cases, actually failed black people because affirmative action wasn't written with the language that it was exclusively for a particular race. It was for all minorities. That included gender minorities, women, and a lot of people took advantage of it. A lot of people said, "Okay, we are honoring affirmative action because now we have a female CEO." The fact that that female CEO was white and maybe a direct descendant of the original family that started the company is besides the point. Loopholes. But back to Nottoway County. This thing of constantly being told, forget about it, it doesn't exist anymore, when you turn around and perpetuate, even elevate racism openly in public, is hypocritical, to say the least. But certain political parties that support the extremists in these political parties that support this white supremacist attitude, or the platform that white people should be in charge because black people are incapable. This is the hypocrisy that they want to shove down the throats of all Americans. There's a long running battle about a monument memorializing the Confederate, soldiers, Civil War from Nottoway County in front of the courthouse. And there's been a big push by not only black people, but open-minded, I'm not going to even say left thinking, I'm going to say proper thinking, correct thinking, white people to get it removed. And the pushback has been, it's part of our heritage. Okay, so you want to align yourself with traitors. You want to align yourself with people that didn't mind enslaving other human beings. But, I get it, because the same people that are standing up for this are the same people that want to make the next president a 4-time criminally indicted person facing 91 state and federal charges that include espionage, stealing classified documents from the very government that they were president of, attempting to oust the results of a verified free and fair election just to attain power. And I get it. Warped mentalities follow warped mentalities. But look, this is a public situation. This is a public school. You get all twisted about who goes to what bathroom or what happens at a private party at a bowling alley that unfortunately happens to be owned by the county. You want to, push your version of religion because there are Christians out there that understand when the Bible talks about, treat everybody as you would treat yourself. I get it. That spirit, that philosophy of white people being in charge, it has never died in Nottoway County. But that does not mean that public supported institutions should be allowed to support it. And the school board, y'all got plenty of problems. Maybe this next election will change something. Maybe you will get more open-minded people on the board, or maybe you'll be further infiltrated by the extreme far right-wing autocratic government desiring persons that have no respect for anybody that doesn't look like them or doesn't pray like them according to the way that they say that they worship. But the thing is, what is this going to accomplish in the county? How is this going to make the county look in the eyes of outside people? How is this going? You already are losing your youth. When they graduate, they go other places. It's not only black kids, it's white kids. It's kids that want to see something else besides the BS that is purposely being pushed to encircle them, put them in a box, define their limits, define their role in society according to the beliefs of antiquated persons that occupy seats in county administration in all departments. I look at the school board's reaction to the situation. Like I said, it's minimalistic. They had to because they had to do what they did because they had no choice. But are they fully addressing the problem as it exists? And in my opinion, they're not. They just did it because they had to. They did it because they had no choice. They did it because the state wouldn't allow it. And it is strange because we all know who heads the Nottoway County school system. The superintendent is a minority. The superintendent is a female. But I'll say it now and I'll say it again. She is a disaster. I don't care what color she is. She is a disaster. The county school system is corrupted. The county school system is ineffective. The students in Nottoway County are not measuring up to state standards, and they're being persecuted just because they are of a certain color, just because people feel like it is okay to do this type of thing to certain individuals. It shouldn't be allowed, it shouldn't be tolerated, but it should be called out for what it is. The county needs to take a stand. This idea of we don't need diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, that Youngkin is pushing, because he says that it's all fair in the state. Just let people be people. Well, this is a result of what happens when people are just allowed to be people. This is a direct argument for the fact that there is a need for the law to make it mandatory for people to have inclusion, for people to have equity, for people to have diversity. Because whoever this substitute teacher was, and like I said, if it had been any other situation, especially if it had been involved some transgender infraction, or if it had involved, if it had been a black teacher denigrating white students in class, I guarantee you that name would have been in print as soon as the report hit the paper. Well, Nottoway, y'all got some work to do. And you can't avoid the source of your problems. If the county wants to survive, if the townships in that county want to survive, you have to address all your problems. Money is one of them, but it's not the only one. The attitude of the old South, the racist South, the white supremacist South, it's still there. People have a right to feel what they want to feel, but they don't have a right to impose their beliefs on other people to the point that people are oppressed, that we go back to pre-1965 and think that it's all right. It wasn't all right then, and it's not all right now. The one thing that's holding the county together is the relationship between the county and the U.S. military with Fort Barfoot. The government, if you continue to support these racist attitudes, especially in our public schools, it's going to affect that relationship. And all you money scheming, we want to run everything and enrich ourselves and put other people down because they don't look like us. All you people that are trying to be in charge, you are going to cut your own throats, and you're going to kill Nottoway County in the process. Well, that's it. That's all I got to say. Y'all can think about it. You can get back at me. I'm pretty sure somebody, come back. But if you appreciate what I do, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I need that. It gets me ad money. And if you really want to support my efforts, don't forget about the super thanks. I'm not begging. I'm just saying, money is money. But as disgusted as I am with the place where I grew up, I still will close with a heartfelt peace out and God bless from Uncle Ricky at Uncle Ricky's house.